Alright guys, so I'm testing out the audio. Don't know if it's working or not. I'm hoping it is. If it's not, let me know. Alright, so I think the audio is working this time. I'm not sure what happened. I touched on it in the last stream. I thought that I might have some difficulties. It was the first time streaming in about 4 months, and it turned out just had to wait a week. So had some technical difficulties with the audio there. I think it's working now. If I need to lower the audio setting a little bit, which I may, I'm just going to do that right now. Let me know. But let's just get right into it. All right. Thanks, Matthew. Appreciate it. Let's get into it. So the American Express. So this is going to be a 3-course tournament. I already touched on that in the last video. The one thing I want to touch on is not to panic or not to get too cocky after the first round or after the second round. These golfers all have to play on 3 different courses. If you get an indication that one course is playing significantly easier than the other, then you might want to try and play the showdown slate. So that's going to be a strategy that we have to wait and see on. And another thing is the cut sweat is going to come down to Saturday, and you won't really have a true indication of how good your lineups are doing up until pretty much Sunday. So the sweat will be real the whole weekend, and then, Sunday we'll see how good our lineups are doing or not. And pretty much your lineup is not going to be dead until Saturday, which will be a fun thing. But let's get into the picks. I'll try to make this one a little bit quicker now that I'm a little bit delayed. I do want to apologize for having the video a little bit later on in the day as well. I know I'm competing with a lot of NBA DFS live streams right now, so if you guys are trying to watch both, I apologize for that. We'll typically try to get these videos out around 1 p.m. Central. But I do want to touch on Matthew Wolff here. The key reason is because we're looking at Scotty Scheffler, Cameron Champ as 2 very comparable players, and the more I look at Matthew Wolff, the more I like him. He's pretty much the same birdie or better percentage player and par 5 scorer as both of them. His recent form is a little bit better than both of them as well. The 74th finish isn't good at all, but other than that, 3 straight top 20 finishes. I just like the price discount between the two. I'd much rather go with Scotty Scheffler this week, but Matthew Wolff at that price point, I'm definitely starting to think about it a little bit more, getting onto him a little bit more, and that's what I want this live stream to be about. We're starting to get some more viewers coming in as well. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Thank you, Smoking Guns. Glad to see you back on the chat this year. Let's get into Lucas Glover here. So Lucas Glover is a play that I do want to touch on a little bit because you look at his course history or event history, 12th, 29th, T41, and T17. His recent form is what is kind of tricky because a lot of those events were either new events or no-cut events or both. So his recent form at those events wasn't even that good. And he's not the best stat fit. He's fine. He's top 50 stat fit this week. So he would typically be a guy that's checking all the boxes. But because that recent form isn't actually true, per se, it's tough to gauge whether or not he's going to be a good play. We do obviously love the event history, and I do expect him to make the cut. I just don't know if he's going to reward us value-wise at that price point. Not going to be a horrible play for you. I just wanted to bring that up to paint the picture of what this week is for us. For Pga Dfs, because there's not a lot of plays that are checking all the boxes. He is one of the closest players to that. Obviously, Russell Knox, he's a player that's checking all the boxes. I really like Russell Knox this week. Let's go a little bit lower. Cameron Tringale. So Tringale is an interesting play. His event history is kind of hit or miss. T51, miscut, and a T14. Recent form is pretty good. He's pretty much been on a cut streak for the past year, it seems like. We were rostered him a lot late last year and now into this year. He's a decent stat fit as well. Don't love the stats, but solid overall. Top 60 in ball striking, total driving, strokes gained, greens and regulation. He could be better at birdie or better percentage, and also par 5 scoring is his weakness. Yeah, that's true. It's going to be a good GPP team there, Smoking Guns. You see, I'm kind of going that route a lot in my GPP lineups, is playing a lot of high upside players rather than the typical cut makers that I would, just because we're getting that extra round. So these guys that are, scorers could actually make up for a miscut, per se. If they only get 3 rounds in, if they're scoring a little bit more, then they might be able to make up for missing the cut rather than playing someone like, I guess, Cameron Tringale, who just makes the cut and doesn't do anything from there. It's going to be an interesting week to see how that pans out. And I do want to point out, I did post this on Twitter, that I had a lineup with like 4,000 left over, and I actually feel pretty good about it. It's just kind of the week that we have where the pricing is kind of all over the place, and you don't have to pay up for anyone. You know, the only true stud in the field is Ricky Fowler, and then Sungjae Im. If you're paying up for him, you know that you're overpaying for him. It's just the field that we got this week, and I don't mind paying up for Sungjae. It's just kind of the field that we have. All right, let's get into some of the value plays a little bit. So Matthew Naismith, I touched on him last week. I like him again this week. He had a T32 finish for us last week. He's still a top 25 stat fit this week. He's just strong in par 5 scoring, and also strong in that better percentage as well. So all that adds up to him being able to be a decent play for us this week, just because we know that if he's playing well, he's going to score. He's going to score on par 5s, which is what you need to do to play well at this course. And at this price point, I don't mind that. So we're getting a score at a lower price point. But there's a little bit better value play, a little bit lower here. I'm curious as to how many of you guys thought Maverick McNealy would be coming up. So his recent form is pretty good. He's not the best stat fit, doesn't have course experience. I do think he actually missed the cut here 2 years ago. So he has played in the event. I'd have to pull that up again. But either way, not good event history if he did play this event. Not the best stat fit, but we are looking at that recent form. I'll pull up Harry Higgs here in a second, smoking guns. Maverick McNealy's recent form is pretty solid. Just been making a ton of cuts. He's made 6 straight cuts. As you can see there, 53rd, 26th, 35th, 17th, 74th, or 37th. And I'm not sure if he's getting talked up. I haven't seen it. If he is, you know, maybe I'd want to get off of him, but I don't think he's been talked up and priced at 6.2K. He's a guy that can go out and score. Let me pull up his stats for us scoring here. All right, so he's T9 in birdie or better percentage, and he's T28 in par 5 scoring. So obviously he's a guy that can go out and score. And going back to it, you know, if he only gets 3 rounds in and doesn't make the cut, with his scoring ability, he should be able to make up for missing the cut for, say, at this price point. So that's what I like. So Harry Higgs, let me pull him up. Do you know his price point? I know he's a value play. Let me try. I got it, 6.9K. Let me pull him up. Okay. So I see what you see in him. You know, he's been making cuts, pretty decent stat fit all around, top 70 total driving, ball striking, putting, and then also birdie or better percentage. So I do get it. Oh, hey, DFS Chef, what's going on? So I do get it with Harry Higgs. If you're finding a reason to play him, I'm not going to talk you out of it. That's not going to be the first, second, third, or fourth value play I'd go with, but I do see a reasoning for that. I will be playing someone like Steve Stricker, just because Wisconsin-nighted me. And, you know, he should be able to play well in this event. He's a guy that can go out and he's picking and choosing the events that he wants to play in now. Obviously, we know he's been playing really well on the senior tour. I think that'll carry over this week. Yeah, 49th in the stat model, I gotcha. You know, top 55 for me, which, you know, if I looked at it, I don't have it pulled up right now, he'd probably be right around there. It's just whether or not that event history or not is going to matter this week. Let's get into some of the FanDuel plays. So I do really like McNealy as a FanDuel play this week, but also some of our other value plays. DJ Trahan, I got it right this time. Trahan, there we go. He has horrible course history or event history. This is the best golf that he's played, though, in his career. I do think he'll be able to overcome that, and he is one of the best stat fits in the field. I will have some ownership to him. He won't be a high exposure play like he was last week. And that kind of just sums up this week, is that, you know, we have some guys that are in really good form and really good stat fits, and they don't have good course experience. Or it's the exact opposite, where, you know, good recent form, good event history, bad stat fit. There's just no one checking all the boxes. If you have to go down this far, I'm considering Wilkinson too. So I do want to mention someone on DraftKings that is priced that low. Let me just go back up here. Just pull it up. So now that you mentioned that, there was one other play that I wanted to mention that low. I think it's 6.3K. It's going to be Aaron Baddeley, where horrible recent form, good event history, and he's a good stat fit. So his event history, T18, T75, T42. But his par 5 scoring is T17, His birdie or better percentage is T33. He has also been making a lot of putts. He's top 70 in putting. So I do see him as a lower owned GPP play that if you're just trying to throw darts, I wouldn't mind that play. A lot of my builds, I'm ending up with English. I love his value. Yeah, English is one of my favorite plays on the board. He would be a cash play if he didn't miss the cut in his last event. It was kind of a rough event for him. Well, actually, it wasn't. He was scoring on that event. Just, the RSM was a little bit lower scoring than, some people would have predicted. I really like Harris English as a play. He's one of the best stat fits in the field this week in my model. And then, obviously, he has a decent event history, T51, and then a top 20 finish the year before that. He's going to make for one of the best GPP plays in the field. And if you end up on him in cash even, I wouldn't blame you as well. It just kind of sums up the week. Typically, I don't want to play someone in cash that hasn't made 3 straight cuts. I always like to look for that as like an indicator of likelihood to make another cut. That just kind of shows their true form. But obviously, coming off a miscut, he should be a little bit ready to go, geared up. This is an event that he likes. Some of the rest of the FanDuel plays that I really like. Carlos Ortiz is sticking out on both Yahoo and FanDuel. I do like him as a play. I don't want to play him on DraftKings, though. I'm going to play him on mostly Yahoo, but FanDuel as well I could go with. JT Poston, so that's a play that I kind of just decided to fade. If you guys are playing him, I do get it. Good birdie or better player, good strokes gained total, good course history, T7, miscut, T43. He is a decent play. I wouldn't blame you for that. Gotcha, Super Pete. Yep, English, he's just grading out well. I do worry about his ownership somewhat, especially in GPPs. He could be one of those interesting plays where he's higher owned in GPPs than in cash this week. I have seen that earlier on in the year. And going back to earlier on in the year, it's crazy how many times the highest owned players in either GPPs or cash have been missing the cut. You go back to last week, it was Justin Thomas. And, pretty much the whole fall swing, the top 2 or 3 players were missing the cut. It was just a weird kind of how that's been playing out this whole season. So that's kind of weird. Let's get into the Yahoo plays because there's a ton of Yahoo value here. And I'll just let it stay up there for a second. You guys can read that. Let me get a sip here. So we got Brandon Steele and Henrik Norlander, both at minimum price on Yahoo, which is insane. They should be chalky on Yahoo, but I am playing Yahoo this week just because of the pricing on Yahoo. And that's where I like to kind of differentiate sometimes is Norlander, I don't have much on DraftKings. I do like him as a play, but if I can just get some of him on Yahoo, I'm going to do that. Same thing with Steele. Steele has good course history. He's actually checking all the boxes. I just hated his price point on DraftKings, where on Yahoo, if he does kind of fade off and not putt as well as he did last week, he's not going to. That's just a fact, but we're hoping he kind of continues that hot streak with the putter into this week. Priced at 20, I really like him on Yahoo. Same thing for Norlander. We know he's been ball striking great, total driving great, hitting greens in regulation. But the surprising point is that he's been scoring, great in par 5 scoring, great in birdie or better percentage as well for Henrik Norlander. So I do like him as a play, especially on Yahoo. And then Alex Noren, he's still too cheap on Yahoo. Cameron Champ, surprisingly too cheap on Yahoo compared to everyone else that's around him. If you look at his FanDuel and DraftKings pricings, it's definitely cheaper here. And then Carlos Ortiz, $22. I told you I liked him a lot more on Yahoo. That's where I'm going to begin it. All right, guys, I'm going to be closing up here shortly. If you have any more questions, get them in. If not, we're going to be heading out here shortly. So Chez Reavie, yeah, see, that's where I'm fading Chez just because I do like the players around him a little bit more. I'd rather go with Russell Knox, rather go with Vaughn Taylor, Andrew Putnam, Harris English, Noren, if we're getting up there, Glover. So I just couldn't find a reason to pay for Chez Reavie when there's all those other stronger plays around him. That recent form has worried me a little bit. He doesn't look like he's been playing like he was the previous, years or year. Last year he was a stud. I played him a lot last year. As always, I do like to just want to touch on the membership page. Got the write-up for you guys. It includes a sample build, the player pool with the exposure. So last week, obviously, we had DJ Trahan as a high exposure play. As a core play. We had Henrik Norlander as a high exposure play. All of our core plays made the cut and did pretty well. Webb Simpson was a core play. He ended up, finishing third And then Cam Smith was a mid-exposure play. He ended up winning it, which feel bad for Brendan Steele. I don't know if you guys saw Steele last week. He kind of gave his daughter a smile on, what was it, hole number 16, and then from that point on, he kind of struggled. So Noren, so I'm paying Noren's price just because he's a good stat fit. He's in good recent form, and it's a high likelihood that he's going to make the cut. I don't know if he is going to finish at like top 15 at all, but I do think a top 25 is in the cards for him, and I like that predictability in Alex Noren this week, so that's why I'm playing him. I'm going to be playing him quite a bit as well, and that's something with PGA DFS I like to do. I don't like to, play those risky plays typically. Now, this is a little bit different week, but I do like the security that we get with Alex Noren this week. All right, if there's no more questions, I'll give you guys, a couple more seconds here to get those questions in. If not, I'm going to be logging off here. Oh, I did want to ask you guys. You can put it in the comments section after the video. Have you guys heard about the DFS Open? I am playing in it. Just want to gather your thoughts on that. It should be a pretty fun event. It's going to be played on the Saturday of the Honda Classic. So we'll be playing in there and then heading over to the Honda Classic. There's going to be a bunch of DFS talking heads in that event. So it should be a pretty fun thing. It sucks that I'm in Wisconsin because I don't get to golf at all. It's snowing outside right now. Danny Lee, I don't have any of Danny Lee. Last year when trying to regain, my dude was making birdies. Yeah, Noren. I think he's going to bounce back this week. No Danny Lee for me. I do like Noren quite a bit. Going to be signing off here, guys. Thanks for watching the live stream. Sorry about the first one with the little struggles there with the audio. I appreciate you guys coming back. Let's have a good week this